everybody. Welcome to a Friday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. I am looking at today and saying, wow, today is a Friday. So, it's one of those days, right? I guess so. With that being said, if you guys are not familiar, this is the show where we talk sports with comedians. So let me bring up some of the comics who like to talk sports with us on a daily weekend. First off is my man, Talent. Talent, how you doing this today, brother? How's everything?
I'm good, fam. I feel good.
Yeah,
I feel good, B.
I can't even wonder why you feel so good.
Life is good, yo. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna get to the reason why life is so good. I know it's gonna come in. Next up is my man Fig. Fig, what's going on? How's everything, bro?
Hey man, I feel good. I knew that I would.
And let me just say this: noticeably, Rodney Perry is absent. Gee, I wonder why.
Is that right? How could that be?
I don't know. It might have something to do with ducking, But we'll get to that part if Rodney Perry comes in. I'm gonna have to text this dude say, "Where you at, Rodney?" So I'm gonna do that right there. Where you at?
Where you?
I just text like, "Where you at, Rodney?" So anyway,
he said the link's not working for him. All of a sudden.
Anyway, what we normally do is we normally jump into the show with the COVID report. Talent, yesterday, I don't know if you heard the show or anything else. We were talking about the Olympics. People were upset because the 10,000 volunteers that they had, out of 10,000 volunteers, they decided that they couldn't do it. They were unable to help work in the Tokyo Olympics. So 10,000 volunteers dropped out officially of the Tokyo Olympics. Literally, 5 weeks out. This morning, I come to find out, let me look at the exact report. This morning, I come to find out that the Olympics are now scrambling to replace the 10,000 volunteers who bowed out, and people are trying to figure out how they're going to be able to replace 10,000 volunteers 4.5 weeks out from the Olympics, or they're going to have to cancel the Olympics. You know what I mean? It's a trying situation for the Olympics committee. What's your thoughts on this, Talent?
Well, we already said that we think they should cancel the damn Olympics or postpone. Let me say that. Right. We got to be careful with wordplay. But yeah, push it back a little bit. The world does seemingly to slowly be getting better and safer. Just give it a little more time. You know what I mean? Like, Frank, this is, I don't know if you've been watching all the news, but this is a big thing in the news of all businesses and establishments and organizations getting staffing together. It's tough. Right. Even the comedy clubs out here, they've been pushing things back because getting a staff in place is tough right now.
You know what, Talent? I got to say, that's a great point. I didn't even think of it on that point and everything else. And Rodney Perry joined the show.
Yay!
Wow. We're going to turn it to Rodney Perry soon in a second. Okay, what do you think about the Olympics scrambling, trying to replace the 10,000, instead of just canceling it or postponing? What do you think about the 10,000 people trying to be replaced for the Olympics right now? What do you think? What's your thoughts?
Man, that's a lot, man. 10,000 is a lot. And although what Talent said is that it seems as though the cases seem to be going down, not in Japan. They're going up. Their cases are really serious and they're going up. And I would imagine that's why, some of these other countries and some of the volunteers have trepidation about going to a country or to a place where, the virus numbers are on the rise.
Absolutely. And since Rodney Perry's joined the show, Rodney, we talked about this yesterday, but this morning, the Olympics is scrambling to try to replace the 10,000 volunteers. Instead of just, postponing the Olympics, they're saying they're going to try to replace the 10,000 volunteers. What's your thoughts on that?
They're obviously not planning on postponing the Olympics. If they don't get 10,000 people, they'll do it with 5, or they'll do it with 2, or they'll do it with 3. I think they're just hell bent on running these games, whether people like it or not.
Rodney Perry is probably absolutely right because there's so much money involved right now. Money is always the issue. They got TV contracts, they got sponsorships that they got to do, and maybe if they cancel it or postpone it, they'll probably lose a lot of that money. We all know it's about money. It's definitely about money. The next thing I want to talk about, I don't know if you guys got a chance to catch this, but Vanessa Bryant was very upset because somebody got the Gianna tribute shoes that were supposed to not be sold anything else. Nike had a contract. We all know this. Nike had a contract that they were about to put out with Vanessa. Vanessa did not decide to move with the Nike contract, but Nike had sent Vanessa a trial shoe. You know what I mean? A sample of the shoes and everything else of a Gianna. It was a tribute shoes. Now the funny thing is, unbeknownst to Nike, Vanessa and the Kobe Bryant Foundation decided not to move forward with the tribute shoes. But guess what happened? The tribute shoes somehow or another got out, and people were wearing them, and people have been wearing them because the design and everything else got out. Now, I'm gonna say this before I throw it to you, Talent. I think Nike was very upset that they didn't move forward. I think somebody at Nike leaked the shoe. I think somebody at Nike also got along somebody who copied shoes and everything else, slid it to them and everything else, and put the shoes out, and didn't think that Vanessa would find out. I think that's the whole thing. I personally am furious at Nike for even doing that because Vanessa had the last say so in the Gianna tribute shoes. What's your thought on finding out that you hear this Nike, let me say Nike, the #1 name brand in the industry, somehow or another let the Nike shoes slip out, and Vanessa Bryant finds out about that, and it's out there in the public? What's your thoughts, Town?
First of all, how the hell do you leak a shoe?
Right.
That's new. I thought it was incredible when Zion's shoe busted. Now we leaking. I'm dumbfounded by that. I agree with your theory though, Frank. There is no real way to leak a shoe. Somebody just did that. Somebody gave somebody what they needed to build a shoe, because if you're not gonna make it, come on, this is corporate 101. You're not gonna make money with me, well then I'm gonna mess up your money.
Right.
If you're not gonna make money with me, we had a deal. We were going forward to make money together, and now you want to make money without me? Oh, that can't happen. I can't not unscathed. I got to jump in there. I got to mess something up. So because ain't no way to leak a shoe. When we hear about things leaking, it's somebody loose lips. We're talking about and then it goes and the information got leaked. This is a shoe.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The whole shoe. Somebody gave that up.
Absolutely. Fig, check this out. Vanessa, as we know, never signed the contract with Nike to approve the sale of the sneakers. It somehow got out. I mean, I don't know how they could even force their mouth to even saying that, but what's your thoughts when you hear this?
Oh man, this is sometimes bad press is good press because it just gets your name out there and attention and stuff like that. For Nike to do something like this, already being a multi-billion-dollar company, it just shows how these corporations really have no respect for, I would just say, our people in general, man, because this young lady has gone through so much, losing her husband and her child. And then you go out, and the first stuff, it started with the police department leaking the photos. Now, all of a sudden, an entire shoe line gets out. Like, when have we ever heard that before? I mean, Jordans have been out, 40 years maybe? There's never been a leakage of a Jordan shoe, and they already been out. Like, nobody leaked. Like, before they're supposed to come out or before they're supposed to hit the stores, nobody leaks them early. So how all of a sudden this young lady using her namesake on a shoe, and then you're going to put it out there without Vanessa's permission? Man, I will say this. In our community, our brothers and sisters, we need to come together. I don't mean no pun by this, but this would have never happened if Kobe was alive. This type of stuff just wouldn't have happened.
Rodney Perry, should we expect a huge lawsuit to be filed at Nike from Vanessa and the Kobe Bryant Foundation? Because I think that she should do that.
I mean, yeah, you'll probably see a lawsuit. Shoes leak all the time, though. I know that we joking about it, but anything that's intellectual property. The name of the shoe was supposed to be the Mamba Cedar, and I mean, y'all live in New York. They bootleg everything. Mm-hmm. And it's not far-fetched that the look of the shoe, even if it's not the real look. I mean, they could just say it's the Mamacita and it hit the street and people will snap it up. So does Vanessa have a case? Probably. But as far as like the intellectual property being leaked, it happens all the time in corporate America.
No, but what happens, so we can say for the record, what happens is with the leak is it gets copied once this first original shoe hits the street. This shoe never hit the street. It's never happened before. I read it in Wall Street, a couple of places. It's never happened before where somebody has gotten the design before the design has hit the street. That's the thing here, and that's why I think Vanessa has a huge case against Nike. Because
but if you have to create the practical shoe, once it's a practical shoe, it can be leaked. You can take a photo of it.
No, I'm not saying that it can't be. It obviously can be. I'm just saying it never has happened before. Never in the history of Nike.
That's the first time of everything.
Yeah, there is, but this seems awfully sneaky that now it would be leaked when Vanessa didn't sign that contract. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Nike has already proven they don't want to be in the Vanessa Bryant business.
Yes, that's right.
They don't want to be in that business. They're very clear on that. She's unpredictable. They're not wanting to mess with her. Like Fig said, if Kobe was here, this would never happen. But I'm sure Kobe's sensibility is way different than hers.
Yeah, it probably is. And his business management is in mind. Go ahead, Fig.
I thought she made the decision to go another direction and not do business with them. But that aside, let me ask you a question, Frank. Where did this shoe get, like, when you say it was leaked, are you saying they actually put them in stores or something like that? Like they're actually selling this shoe? Or just a photo of the design of the shoe is out?
The leaking means that somebody got the design, somebody copied it and put it out, and they're selling it bootleg on the market. There's a whole sneaker market out there right now, whereas people buy.
Oh, absolutely. I know all about it.
Yeah. So what's happening?
You can't debunk the shoe till the real shoe come out.
Right, and a lot of people, the sneaker business is such a business, whereas people try to be the first ones to get it, and people are purchasing sneakers from other sneaker vendors who don't have, the storefront. You know what I mean? So some people might have bought some of these sneakers thinking that this might be ahead of the curve, and it's really not. You know what I mean? Because they're bootleg. But anyway, let's move on. We got to talk about the NBA last night because I got a couple of stuff. I got a lot of stuff I want to get through before the weekend's out. We all know that the Lakers fell to the Suns last night. I'm gonna ask you, Talent, what's your thoughts? And then I got a couple things I want to say about this thing. First, Talent, tell me your thoughts about the Lakers falling to the Suns. What's your thought?
My condolences to the Perry family. I hope they make it through this one. It's a rough one. You know how people pass all the time, and then that one that passed, you go, this one's rough. I hope this ends the GOAT argument. I think the Lakers, as so many of the past LeBron teams, are manufactured to manipulate these championships, and they're not real teams. And as soon as those key super players get an injury or get hurt, you see what the team really is. They're out in the first round. They're the West Coast Knicks. The only difference is the Knicks already came from the bottom and was just happy to get where they got. This is the defending champions. Got taken down, and I'm going to say it, by a guy named Booker with a weird haircut.
Fig, what's your thoughts?
Man, let me tell you something. That was epic. That was epic, man. Last night was epic, man. I wasn't surprised at all. I saw it coming. I predicted it. I knew it was going to happen. Sooner or later, it was bound to happen. And last night, it really happened. It was a failure of epic proportions. My country, 'tis of tea. Sweet land of liberty. They are on vacation. Yes, it is.
All right, Roger Perry, what's your thoughts?
A broke clock is right twice a day.
A broke clock is right twice a day.
From time to time.
Oh, shit. Oh shit!
The thing about winning and losing is that, well, let's say, for instance, if you're the Knicks.
Oh God!
Here we go.
If you're the Knicks, you're a loser, and being a loser is a state of mind. But when you're a winner,
right,
and people find a way to kind of try to besmirch your name and look back in history and try to just degrade your whole existence. That's okay.
Oh God!
Coming off a shortened season, from
Oh,
the beginning.
here we go.
Not your turn. Coming off a shortened season, having to play at Christmas. This year is taking a toll on not only LeBron and AD, but a lot of people in the NBA. And so it proves that youth helps. Hats off to a Devin Booker, who was lights out. The dude hit like 17 threes or some shit like that. It was a fabulous game on his part. And when he seemed to run out of gas, then Chris Paul stepped up and made some great plays, man. I think long and the short of it is, the Phoenix Suns are good, better than good team, hence the second seed. And I don't know how far they'll go in these playoffs, but they beat the Lakers, and congratulations.
All right, let me put my take on it real fast. Like I told you guys at the beginning of the series, I really thought that a bench was going to play a vital role in this. I will say this: the bench players did not show up for the Lakers like they expected them to. But now here's the question for you, Talent. I'm going to start with you, Talent, and I'm going to go to you, Fig, and I'm going to go to you, Rodney Perry. The Lakers got a lot of decisions to make, and I looked it up. They got a lot of free agents they got to deal with. Dennis Schroeder's about to be last year his contract. Andre Drummond is a free agent. Alex Caruso's a free agent. Montrezl Harrell's a free agent. And the funny thing is, guess who else is going to be a free agent this year? Kawhi Leonard and Paul George from the Clippers are going to be a free agent. So what do you think the Lakers are going to end up doing, Talent? Because they have to put some talent around AD, and they are assuming that LeBron James is going to come back. Now, my final thought before I throw it to you, Talent, when he walked away off that court last night and he was injured, the thought crept across my head that we might be seeing the last of LeBron James. I would not be 100% surprised saying if he didn't come back. But that's just my thought. Talent, tell me all your thoughts. Now that I told you all the free agents who are available so far, the big name free agents are available. What do you think the Lakers are going to do?
Well, I looked at the same thing, Frank, and I've seen just over $100 million is what's coming up next year, just between three players.
Right.
And the guys that are leaving. I'm like you. I wouldn't be surprised. We already know he's a sore loser. We know that. This is why I say you can't compare him to the GOAT, because you take your wins and losses on the chin a certain way, being an ex-professional player myself. But I wouldn't doubt it if, we're seeing the last of him. But I will say this, because I'm not going to, we joke and play, but he's a strong individual. And he does, as much as he's a sore loser, he does rise to the occasion. He's the best homework doer in the league. I look for, the only problem I see is him returning, but how long he stays in LA, that's the question, because what are they going to be able to do to plug some of those holes that are obviously right around the corner? So it's up in the air, and I can see it either way, but the strong LeBron James, and like having his voice like he does, for that reason, I think he hangs around a little longer.
All right, well, Fig, the Lakers got some real issues coming up right now. Los Angeles, like they got some holes they got to fill. The holes that they thought they filled in right now, those holes weren't filled. Alex Caruso, a couple other players with a disappearing act. If you're the Lakers, what do you do with the upcoming roster? Do you re-sign these guys, or you start looking elsewhere because AD's there for the long term? What you think?
Well, the funny thing to me is, man, I'm not going to put all that on them guys, man, because you know what? When they won last year, I didn't realize anybody else was on the team other than LeBron and Anthony Davis. because they never was mentioned. And let me tell you how insignificant the other players are. They got rid of the people who they feel was insignificant. JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, Rondo. I mean, everybody that they felt was insignificant, they got rid of them. And the only two people that really mattered was Anthony Davis and LeBron James. So carry it. Carry the team. Don't worry about who else is on the team with you. You're the only two that matter. You're the only two that gets any press. When you win, it's all about you. When you lose, take it and stop talking about the other players. I like Alex Caruso. I make fun of him being the pizza delivery boy, but he plays his behind off. And they wouldn't have been to this point if it wasn't for those guys, because a vast majority of the time, Anthony Davis and LeBron James were injured. So take it.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you, as a Laker fan, Rodney Perry, you got a lot of holes to fill on your team.
Before you ask me that, you want to give Fig a chance to answer that last question?
No, because he had a shot. It's your turn. It's your turn. We got to keep showing.
He didn't answer it at all.
I know. But Rodney, don't worry about it. Don't worry about that, Rodney. We moving on to you. Rodney. So how would you do it? How would you handle it? What would you say?
Handle what? What's the question?
The question is, the Lakers have a lot of holes to fill. If the Lakers got a lot of free agents to fill, certain guys did not show up. What would you do if you are the Lakers management? You got Dennis Schroeder you got to deal with. Andre Drummond is a free agent. Alex Caruso is a free agent. Montrezl Harrell is a free agent. You know what I mean? But guess what? Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are also free agents. And I'm saying that purposely for a reason. What's your thoughts on what the Lakers do? Because AD's there for the long haul, and LeBron is about to be 37 years old. What's your thoughts?
Indeed. Well, they definitely have to make some moves. And the reality is, when you have a LeBron James and an AD, you do invest in them, right? You don't go, okay, LeBron, hold on, let me pay Alex Caruso. You don't say that.
Mm-mm.
But I will say this: if I'm the Lakers, and first of all, Schroeder should have took that $80 million. I know he wish he had done it now, because that little price to plummeted probably down to about 50. If they like him, but you got to also look at your boy that was up in Canada is on the market too, a very serviceable point guard that can shoot, and so whether you like it or not, people come to play with LeBron to get chips. AD got one, and it might be an opportunity for a guy that's already in LA to come over there and play with LeBron and AD and make a big three and get a chip. Yeah, you don't know who it's gonna be.
Yeah, I'll say this. This is my Pelican brief. You guys know I always have one. This is my Pelican brief. I think when the Clippers lose to the Dallas Mavericks, because they're about to, I think everything is going to implode in LA Clippers, and I think it would not be surprised to see Paul George slide over, because Kawhi for some reason doesn't want to play with LeBron. He already made that clear. But I would not be surprised to see Paul George slide over to the Lakers and play with the Lakers, because the Lakers have to make some moves. Which brings me to my next question on the reason why I think the Lakers have to make some moves. Chris Paul is about to decline his player option. That's a fact. He wants to sign for 3 years. Phoenix has said they want to sign him for 3 years. He wants to get $100 million, but believe it or not, Talent is going to lower his salary cap, so his hit on the salary cap, and because Phoenix wants to go after somebody, and Phoenix, quiet as kept, is going to probably go after Kawhi, because it looks like Kawhi and Paul George will not return, to the Clippers. So Pelican brief, Kawhi could land on Phoenix, and Paul George could land on the Lakers. But Chris Paul's not going to sign. He's going to decline his player option and re-sign for a longer term. What's your thoughts when you hear all that, Talent?
I think first of all, I think some of the Pelican brief is accurate, some is not. First of all, shout out to the funeral sunglasses that Rodney wearing today after his loss. I think it's very plausible that no matter what, at the end of the year, there's going to be some breakage with the Clippers. I haven't put them in a casket yet because I think that they still can surprise us with this series and force 7 games and pull a squeaker out. So I'm reserved to leave that open. But if they do get the loss, your Pelican brief becomes that much more viable, that much more plausible and believable. So I'm 50-50 with you on that.
Okay. All right. Let me ask Fig what he thinks. Fig.
The funny thing is, I would wonder if the Lakers would try and go after Kawhi and Paul George and stuff like that. Because those guys are big stars, and they would clearly make up what you would consider a big three, like the Nets have. Chris Paul, all these other guys, man, those chips will fall later. You know, we know the history of the NBA, and they always go for the big stars first, and then the other guys. You know, then we'll figure out what happens with them. We'll fit them in to the equation after the fact. So, you know, I would imagine that this whole off season, if the Clippers lose, will hinge on what Kawhi and Paul George does first, and then we'll find out about everybody else after the fact.
All right, Rodney Perry, I don't know if you agree or disagree with my Pelican brief, but would you be surprised to see Kawhi Leonard on the Lakers uniform? Because I personally would, because he already made himself clear that he ain't coming to the Lakers.
I mean,
Paul George is. What's your thought?
Losing changes minds. Mm-hmm. And getting your ass whooped 2 seasons back to back really kind of, you know, so typically I think you're absolutely right, but I mean, you take L's like this. I mean, Talon said a word earlier, sore loser. All of the NBA players are sore losers. You don't play competitively on this level and not be a sore loser. Ain't nobody happy about getting their ass whooped. The worst thing you can do to a guy at the end of the game is touch his head and be like, good game. And so nobody like that. But you just have to take it, you know, because you have to be good sport. But nobody has good sport. So Chris Paul, to for that part of the Pelican beef, I mean, Chris Paul is still an old guy. So do we see? I mean, can he garner? He would have to win a championship to get the type of money he's going to want. And could that happen this year? I mean, not long as the Nets are heating up the way they are, I don't think. But maybe the Suns make it to the finals. But it's not a bad beat, not a bad breed.
Well, let me say this for the record: Chris Paul's not asking for a max contract. He's asking for he wants less money and sign for a longer term. So, but he ain't going. He's not leaving Phoenix. That part is fact. The reason why I ask you guys these questions is because
but you got to know he's not going to see the longer term.
No, he's not, and they know that. They know that.
And so he's not going to stay. He's not going to stay healthy.
I don't know about that, but you can't sign a player saying that. I agree he gets hurt all the time. But listen to my next question. Here's my next question. The reason why I bring all of this up too is because Damian Lillard, he lost too. And he put up a cryptic tweet too and everything else out there. You know what I mean? He put something cryptic. And I think personally, Talent, I think he's looking for his way out. But the problem is with Dame is he signed long term. You know what I mean? He's not going to be a free agent for the next 3 or 4 years. Now, we all know that in order to snatch him up, you got to do some kind of trade or play and everything else. But he literally looked upset last night, and he could be on the block. Now, if he's on the block because he demands a trade, how does things shake out? I don't see him staying. Do you see him staying? I think he's going to demand a trade, like because he's been playing for 8 or 9 years, hasn't even whiffed finals at all. Hasn't whiffed the finals at all. Hell, he hasn't even whiffed the Western Conference Finals. As close as he got was a semi-conference final. This is as close as he got. As good as
he hasn't got out the first round.
No, he got to the second round 2 years ago. But
I don't think he's gonna go anywhere. What I think he's gonna do is pull a LeBron, because he deems himself on that level of play right now. So he's gonna. You gotta keep in mind. I keep telling you, LeBron started a whole different way of thinking with putting these teams together and these super teams and trying to manipulate the championship, if you will, manipulate the league. I think Damon's gonna finally. You know how sometimes you frown upon that way, and then after banging your head, you give in and go, you know what, let me try that way. I think before he leaves Portland, which he owns the city, he's going to try the LeBron way, and he's going to recruit a superstar or two.
All right, officially for the record, I disagree with that because at the end of the day, you might want to come to that team, but once you look around the city, who the hell wants to go to Portland? You know, I just don't see people want to go to Portland.
Frank, millions of dollars make people do shit for less.
Yeah,
millions of dollars.
You could go to $1 million and go somewhere else
for 10 years. Give me $1 million.
You go to millions of dollars and go somewhere else in a much better city, like Miami or something.
Yeah, but if you're trying to put together a super team, look at all these teams that are putting together. People don't want to be in a lot of places. They don't want to be in Milwaukee. They there.
I would bet that $20 that Roddy just gave me on that he ain't going nowhere. Fig, what's your thoughts?
Whoa. Let's bet.
Bet $20 what? That he's going to recruit.
Dame stays. You say he leaves. I say he stays.
Well, I can't bet that he's going to leave or stay because he's under contract. He has to stay. So that's a crazy.
You brought this shit up.
No,
you just brought this shit up.
I say he has to stay, but I don't think he's going to recruit players to come to Portland. That's what I'll bet that.
No. I bet you he does get a player or two, a super player or two over there.
I'll take that bet. Bet. Fig, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't want no nickel in that dime because I'm gonna say right now, man. I think that's been the problem with Dame Lillard all along. It's not that he's a selfish player or selfish star, or anything like that, and that players wouldn't love to play with him. I think Portland is the problem, and not only is Portland not a desirable location, it's a small market also. So I think that's what the problem is in recruiting players to come play with you. Now, some of the bigger places where you do is the LAs and the Miamis, you know what I mean? And New York, I'm not talking about the Knicks because their whole organization was a mess, but the Brooklyn Nets, that's why players were able to go there because the city itself and the market is desirable. So I think that's where Dame Lillard will run into problems recruiting players to Portland. If he gets out, it is going to take a Herculean effort of the team that wants him, and they will have to give up a lot to be able to get him. And I'm not sure who has that kind of money.
A what?
Yeah. Herculean. Like Hercules.
I think you guys 1 hour before this show every day pick up like a dictionary or some shit and try to figure where can I throw this word. Really? On a Friday, we got to hear Herculean?
Herculean. See, I read the thesaurus 1 hour before the show every day.
And for the record, I'll say this: Portland is not only is it a small market, small major city. They gave C.J. McCollum, Dame, and their center 3 max contracts. It's really hard to get another player who's a max contract available to be able to come and play in Portland. So I'm gonna win that $20.
No, I don't think so. All
right, we'll see. Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts?
I mean, the big problem out there in Portland is not Dame, it's Dame and CJ. They're just too small, and I think in order for them to flourish, they need another guy. But here's the thing with shopping for those guys is they're shopping at the same time somebody else is shopping. LA is gonna be shopping. And we just said that Chris Paul is going to be shopping to add a third guy over there. So the people that would come ain't going to come. They're going to be by the time they get to the register. So that's going to help. And to speak to what Talent said about LeBron and manipulating the teams, the manipulation has always been there, but it was just the teams doing the manipulating. Now these players have more power than they've ever had, not just LeBron, but Paul and anybody else. And so I'm happy to see the players deciding their own fate.
Right. I agree with that because honestly, these guys got to max out and get as much money as possible. They just have to do that. Let me move on because I want to be able to hit top dogs. I'm gonna start with you, Talon, with this next item. I don't think people are talking about or even heard about it, but Baltimore Ravens owner Steve Bisciotti, he honored his ex-GM, Ozzie Newsome, with a $4 million gift for scholarships at all of the Maryland HBCUs. He put it all in the name of Ozzie, and we all know how Ozzie Newsome is the man. You know what I mean? Like he's the man. So he hit them all. He broke off Ozzie Newsome, $4 million gift, and said, here to all the Maryland HBCUs, excuse me, here's $4 million. People
Nice.
just don't do that, man. They just don't do that. What's your thoughts when you hear that, Talent?
I hold my heart, man. That's dear to the heart right there. You know, these little sightings of times are changing. I like that. I love that. I think that's amazing right there. I think we need more of it. I mean, every organization can reach back and find that GM, that past player, that executive that's done so much to their organization that they can, you know, find something connection to that and say, you know what, here's a gift to this in this person's honor, in this person's name. I think more organizations can do this. This is a great sign.
Yeah, and before I throw it to you, Fig, it's even big because there's not that many HBCUs in the Baltimore, Maryland area, so they're getting even more money. That $4 million could probably will divide up $1 million apiece to those guys. You know what I mean? I think it's only 4 or 5 schools. I'll check on it, but that's a huge thing. What's your thoughts on this, Fig?
Well, you know, I think it's great. It's a great philanthropic gesture. The thing about it is that when these schools and universities are trying to recruit A-list athletes, one of the things that they do is they take an athlete on tour of the facility. And when you go to these bigger schools and you see their facilities are state of the art, and some of the smaller schools and HBCUs, they can't compete because they don't have the money to build a state of the art facility, which, you know, in turns makes the athlete not want to go there. And, you know, this type of money put into, you know, that type of school or those universities will give them the opportunity to make their facilities that much more desirable.
Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts on this?
I mean, appreciate you, Mr. Buscemi, owner of the Ravens, throwing that money out there. But it is tax season, and ain't nothing like a good write-off. So, you know, I mean, you got mad love, mad respect for Ozzie Newsome. You make a scholarship in his name, which is awesome. And at the same time, you get a tax write-off. Well done.
All right, but we cannot overlook the fact that he gave so much money either, because people aren't giving away $4 million to HBCU.
I mean, the guy's a billionaire, Frank.
I know.
It's like $20 you got in your pocket. It's exactly $20.
Rodney,
hey, listen, I'm with. Would y'all do me a favor? Would y'all give Steve Buscemi my Cash App, since he, you know, it is tax season.
I'm not denying that at all. I think that, but still, just the fact that he gave, it can't be overlooked, because these HBCUs are struggling, bro. They're really struggling. Some of them about to fold because of what happened with COVID. Some of them might not even see it past the COVID season. And quiet is kept. Some of them might not even be able to see September to be able to open in this September. So people are looking at eyes out. They got their eyes wide open to see which schools are going to make it past this season to be able to open up the doors, you know, this upcoming season. So a gift is a gift, bro. Whether you like it or not, the gift is a gift. Let me move on.
I'm not trying to argue with you, brother. I'm just saying it's tax season.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying.
It's tax season.
I understand.
Thank you. And it's a relatively small amount of money for a billionaire.
I agree. Small amount of money, but since
Hold
it's being recorded and he might see it, I want to act like it's a gift. It's still a gift.
But it's still $2. It's literally $2 for him.
But
I'll take it.
I'll take his $2, his type of $2. You go to give it to me, I'll take his type of $2. I think anybody would.
Thank you.
Let me move on, because I want to get this before I get into the top dogs. I don't know if you all heard the news this morning either, but the Detroit Lions are about to sign Todd Gurley to go over there to play with Jared Goff. And we all know Todd Gurley played with Jared Goff when they were playing for the Rams. Now, Talent, do you think Todd Gurley could be detrimental to the offense? I personally think if he's anywhere near what he was, you know, Detroit's offense could literally be making some moves, man. You know what I mean? And they got the right quarterback now. I don't think they're going to be last in the league like they have been. What's your thoughts, Talent?
I think these guys are a cute couple. I think this is cute. You know, you over there. I'm coming over there. You know, it's cute. Save me a locker. I think no. All jokes aside, that's good for the offense. And for some reason, Gurley is one of those players to strike me as he has a resurgence or two left in him. You know, I may be going out on a limb, but I just think that because he skipped like a season of having that impact player that we got used to, I think he has a resurgence or two left in him. And to take it to the Detroit Lions where you got, golf over there, you come back and rekindle, is nothing like playing with somebody you have built a rapport with over the years. I think this is good news for their offense.
I agree. Fig, what's your thoughts?
I concur, man. I think it's great for the offense too. It's almost like you go to a new location and you have your security blanket with you. You know what I mean? Almost like lining. You know what I mean? Gurley, he's a great player. Although I that name throws me off, man. I mean, I lived a lot of years. I never met a Gurley before. I mean, as the last name. Gurley just sort of throws me off. It's my man Gurley.
Oh, man, Gurley. You saying my man's Gurley?
I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, man, I think the Lions would be better, man, because you look, at the end of the day, you need playmakers in order to be able to win in the NFL. I mean, you can have all kinds of schemes, great coaches and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you really need playmakers. And both of those guys are exactly that. They're playmakers. They could tear the roof off.
Sorry about that. Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I had Gurley in my fantasy last year, my fantasy football league, and he did nothing all year. I mean, not one time, not one good Sunday. And I'm not excited about Gurley going nowhere. I mean, it would be great, like Talon said, if he had some sort of resurgence. But why would he? I mean, these guys, these backs, man, and we want the backs to harken to the old days of Walter Payton and Jim Brown when guys was durable and ran. But this league is not set for a running back to have more than about 3 or 4 good years. And so it's a sad thing, but I think Gurley will be just pitiful in a Detroit uniform as he was in Atlanta.
Okay.
Well, first of all, pause, right? He said he had Gurley in his fantasy last year.
I had Gurley in my fantasy. That motherfucker, he let me down all season.
Wow, that's hilarious. All right, Figure, you ready for your top dogs? Because I'm anxious.
Yeah, man.
All right, Fig, get ready for this time now for the top dogs. We do it every single week, Fig. Knock it out. Let's do it.
Let's make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to breeze through it this week, baby. These are the top dogs of the week. I got 5 of them. Tell me what yours are after this. Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 on my list, I got to give it to this dude. This is your young dude emerging as a star. My man, Jason Tatum, dropped 50.6 rebounds, 7 assists in a Herculean effort, ladies and gentlemen, to steal a game from the juggernaut Nets, winning 125-119. That was the only game they got, but it was because of Jason Tatum. Number 2 on my list, I got to give it to my man Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, baby, dropping 20 points, 12 rebounds, 15 assists, a triple-double in a closeout game against the Eastern Conference champions of last year, the Miami Heat, beating them 120-103. Give it to my man Giannis Antetokounmpo with the triple-double against the Eastern Conference champs. Number 3 on my list, I got to give it to this young dude from overseas, my man Cool Hand Luka Doncic, just doing it up. 42 points, 8 rebounds, 14 assists, almost single-handedly beating the Clippers. Dallas, 105 over the Clippers, 100. They might be in trouble. 4th on my list, I got to give it to this dude here, the Joker. Jokic, yeah, baby. Unstoppable Nikola. 36 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Clinching the series over the Blazers, 126-115. Maybe running Dame Dollar out of town. Last on my list, last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, I got to give it to this young man emerging as a superstar, coming out of nowhere, giving it to him, Devin Booker, in an elimination game. 47 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. The Suns over the Lakers, 113-100. Those are my 5 top dogs. What's yours?
I actually like that list. I kind of like that list this week.
But
I have no buts. I like it.
Really?
I like it. Because this week nobody in hockey really did too much. We only had so much in baseball. You know what I mean? It was not that, and this is NBA playoffs. I kind of like that list. And Fig kept that in mind. That's why he started the list out with Jason Tatum. That nigga ain't slick. That nigga ain't slick.
That's the one thing I had questions about. Because it seemed like that game happened 3 weeks ago.
Nah,
it was kind of difficult, man, because Jason Tatum, he didn't have his running mate with him. He was damn near by himself, and to go up against the juggernaut, the Nets, and get 50 points
I thought guys didn't need no other guys.
Can I say one thing? Let me say one thing. When the Celtics lost, you know what they didn't say? They did not say we did not have our whole team together, because they're the only team all season did not have their starting 5 play together the whole season. They didn't mention it one time. LeBron James sits down there last night, first thing out of his mouth. The whole season we had injuries, and
I was hurt. I was so hurt.
Everybody said that it's still a fact.
Everybody
said or not, it's a truth though. If you say it or not, it's the truth. Tatum had to go by himself. You don't have to mention it. But it's a truth. It's still a truth.
It was 5 guys on the floor all game long. Every time I looked, it was 5 of them. It was 5 Lakers and 5 for the Spurs. LeBron was not out there. Let me tell you something, man.
It's fine. But you can't play the game without a whole team.
Hold on. I know I touched the nerve. But I'm going to leave it with this. The Celtics didn't have their starting 5 all season because of COVID and injuries also. So, you know what? It is what it is. But let me leave it.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It
is what it is. No excuses. No excuses.
I
mean, what happened to the Knicks? The Knicks ain't shit. We all know that.
I ain't saying nothing about no Knicks.
Keep bringing it up.
Gentlemen, let me move on. We only got a few more minutes. I want to get into this last thing. The Mayweather and Logan Paul fight is Sunday night. Nobody's talking about it. Believe it or not. Yeah, it came up. I saw it this morning. It came up real fast. Talent, before we roll up out of here. Mayweather versus Paul. What you think about Mayweather versus Paul? What's your thoughts? And should we even pay attention?
I think I'm busy Sunday night. I think I'm having a few people over for tea and crumpets. Who gives a damn? I'm the same guy. It's funny that we bring this up right after LeBron and the Lakers, because I'm the same on both people. I'm the same on LeBron that I am on Floyd Mayweather, because these are guys that get a lot of accolades and get compared as the GOAT. And there's certain things about them that I'm like, before you give him the GOAT, you got to compare it to this GOAT. And is his career better than this GOAT? And I feel the same way with him as I do LeBron. Like he's a guy that's mechanically got himself to where he is number-wise. Like he doesn't get in. He talks more smack than anybody's grandfather. Like he's gonna knock you out. He's gonna do this, and he dances. Especially when he get in there with somebody a viable opponent that could beat him. He dances his ass off until the last bell rings and accumulates enough points. That's it with him. So I'm not watching this crap.
Honestly, I think you're absolutely right. But if Mayweather hits that dude with a right cross early on, it could be over really quick. Fig, what's your thoughts on Mayweather versus Paul? It's Sunday night.
Hey man, you know what, man? I saw part of it today, man, and I didn't even realize the fight was this Sunday. But when them dudes match up, this kid Paul is he's not a small dude, man. You know what I mean? He really he has size and height over Mayweather, and I'm sure. Look, he's knocked out a few people, although they weren't boxers. He's knocked out a few people, which means, look, if you can knock a man out, you got a little power in your punch. I mean, if you catch him, anybody could get caught with a lucky punch. So I give him a puncher's chance, possibly, but it's interesting to me.
Rodney Perry, if by some chance Logan Paul ends up beating Mayweather, can you imagine the amount of money they would make in a rematch and how many people would actually watch this? So I don't know. I think boxing's fixed anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if Mayweather took a phony dive. I wouldn't be surprised. But I can't see him doing that to hurt his record either. He's 50-0. You know what I mean? What you think?
Oh, this ain't part of the record.
Yeah, that's true. It ain't part of the record. That's true. But he's still 50-0. People will still throw it up there and say he's 50-0 and he got knocked out in something that wasn't as coded against the record. And the person that next fight, everybody in their mother would watch that. So that's what I'm saying. I can't see. I'd expect anything. You know what I mean? Hell, even Godzilla walking through the ring. You know Rodney Gray, what's your thoughts?
Dude. First of all, I think Mayweather will do whatever he had to do to sell the fight, but the reason Talent hates Mayweather is the reason he won't lose this fight. He just doesn't get hit. Like boxing, like people think boxing is about throwing punches, but it's as much about not getting hit as it is about hitting people. And Mayweather just doesn't get hit. So you think a guy that's been boxing for a couple of years he might not even touch Floyd Mayweather, literally. Right. And so I think Mayweather's gonna knock the guy out.
You know what? The funny thing is, Rodney Perry, the only time Paul might even touch it is when they, how they break at the beginning of the fight and they both go. Mayweather might flip that motherfucker. Yeah, he might go. Boop. Okay, the fight begins. Bang. That's it. It's the only time. Anyway, y'all, that's the show. By the way, Rodney Perry, you had a great show last night, man. I'm liking your show, man. Talent, where you at this weekend? What's going on? Tell everybody out there how they can follow you.
Well, I'm about to get in the car and drive to Atlanta to pick up this $20 from the Lakers series. I won. I want the world to know I'll be on www. I won $20 from RodneyPerry.com. Feel free to donate to that. That Cash App is $Talent 2018. Thank you.
Fake, how about you?
I'm gonna catch up with Talent. I'm gonna take the ride with her, man. I'm riding shotgun. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Comedian Fig, baby, and on Box Seats. Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. This is the best damn sports show on TV, and I don't give a damn what Rodney Perry got to say.
Rodney Perry, where are you at this weekend? How can we follow you?
Oh, well, since y'all coming down to Atlanta, I'm gonna cancel those cash apps. I'm still here in Canada on quarantine. You guys it's been a pleasure getting a chance to see human beings every day and talk sports with you guys. And y'all kept my sanity. Sad that the Lakers lost, but c'est la vie. Such is life. But I would like Talent for you to make that damn bed next time we're doing this show.
The bed is made, man.
I don't like the way the pillows look. I don't like the way that pillow on the left.
Hey, y'all, that's the show. The show called Box Seats is on the channel. Next week, we got some guests on you. Can't wait to surprise you all with some of the guests.
No, we don't. We got no guests.
Yes, we do. I'm talking to people. I'm talking to people. Speak for yourself, Rodney. Speak for yourself. And next week, we talk about round 2 of the playoffs. We got to find out what goes on with the Suns. We're going to take a look at the Denver.
I'm done with the NBA this year. Holler at me in September.
Yeah, we will holler at you. We're going to look and see what happens with the Atlanta Hawks series. We got a lot of stuff to talk about next week because by Monday, Milwaukee would have played the Nets. We'll have an idea of what that series is going to look like. Yeah. We're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about coming Monday morning. So y'all make sure y'all check us out. It's every single Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. The show's called Box Seats. I'm Frank Holder. Have a good weekend, y'all. Peace.
Salute.